But I guess we'll call the meeting to order a little bit late at 6:09 today. And first thing off, of course, is the approval of the minutes. Did anybody have any comments, Bruce?
No comments.
All right.
So they right now stand as I sent them out last week.
Okay. I did not have any comments and read them over. I'll make a motion to approve them if there's no other discussion. Nate has seconded. All in favor? It is unanimous. Aye. Wonderful. So, well, before I launch into everything, Linda, I kind of represented you last time. Do you want to say a few words or?
I just want to say I'm sorry to be leaving the group. I'll miss everyone very much. But it's been a wonderful experience being part of this committee. I'm going to join in August, so I'll say more then, but I'll just leave it at that for the moment. So, Keith, I think you're also going to be here for the August meeting, correct? And
yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here for the August meeting. I did ask Jennifer if we could go back to in-person again, and she's like, no, they still haven't made a decision on that. Maybe for the August will be in person. It would be nice. You know, it's been a long time, but August will be my last meeting as well. And so I guess the first thing I put on there was a discussion for a new chair. Nobody did respond to me saying they wanted to step into the illustrious role with the large six-figure stipend that comes with being the chair. That is not, the private jet. In no way, shape, or form is that true. But it's not all that much work. It's just, mostly trying to get the agenda items together and, running the meetings and things like that. So anybody want to take a crack at it? I think that, again, when there will have to be a vote on it, probably at the next meeting, because, at the September meeting will be a new chair needed. So I know Karen said she's unfortunately not want to do it because she only has a year left on her final term, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So Sarah, Nate.
It would be advisable.
I think Karen and I are in the same boat, unfortunately. We're the same cycle.
Okay. Yeah, go Laura.
It would be advisable, and I don't know if it's even possible, but that someone who becomes chair has been to the town training session for committee members already, so that they're familiar with how committees are supposed to run and the freedom of information laws, et cetera. But I don't know if any of the others are have done that. So they run it every year. So certainly whoever becomes chair should make a point to attend that training next time it's offered.
Yeah, definitely. And I haven't been to it in several years. It was an in-person meeting when I first went, but
it's not something you need to do over and over again.
No, you just need once.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Uh-oh. Resounding silence. So. Well, I guess we'll have to try to figure it out for the next week, really, or the next month's meeting or whatever. It's it is not that much work. It's just making sure that the things run correctly and everything like that. So definitely.
From what I viewed, besides setting the agenda and running the meeting, the main thing is you're the one who speaks to the press and interfaces with the first Selectwoman's office. That's the main. You also have, over the years, the almost 8 years now, set our goals for the year and things like that.
Yeah, and I think that was less really my doing, but it was more of a kind of a concerted effort. One of the things when we first started the committee, we had several working groups. And so, it was a Complete Streets working group, the Bike Routes working group, events and things like that. And as the chair, you're basically a de facto member of all of those groups. So you do that. Again, connecting with the first Selectwoman's office or Selectman at the time before was one of the tasks that I had done. A lot of times with the press, we had the secretary or, even like when Don was doing it, like he had written things and I kind of approved them. but it wasn't really like, he would say Keith Gallinelli says this. It wasn't me actually saying it. It was putting those words into my mouth. I'm not that eloquent. So
Keith, on another note,
Yes.
have you heard anything from Jennifer about, did she post the openings for the committee? And had you heard anything from anyone else who might be interested? I did speak to one person, but.
Were they going to join tonight? I'm not sure if they're here or not.
You know what? My guess is that they probably tried and maybe didn't think they had the right link because of the delay. That's just my guess, but I'll reach out to him afterwards and just see if that's what happened. But I was hoping he would join just so he could say a little bit about himself. But
yeah, no, I have not.
okay,
I've not heard from anybody else. And be honestly, when I met Bruce, when I met Scott recently, even Sarah when she joined. It was more of somebody, kind of approached me or said, I have a friend or I know somebody who'd be interested. And as the chair, again, one of the things I did was I talked to them about the group, what we do, what our goals were, kind of got their background. And then officially, I'm not the one who chooses. I basically say, okay, I'm going to pass you on to the Jennifer in the first select woman's office, and they'll make the final decision. And
I realized that. I was just curious because just given them the fact that we are looking for a new chair and there are, that it would be nice if we had any new members who are coming on as well, because it's it's potentially 3 people that we're looking for, 2 right away. But, the more people you have that on it, even if it is someone new, I mean, we were all brand new and you took the chair position before you knew anything about it.
I was forced into that.
Yes,
Ed
you were.
was the one who put my name forward to that. As my father always said, when I told him I got the chair, he's like, "Oh, you were late for the meeting, huh?" I'm like,
That's right. Yeah, you didn't learn how to say no.
oh no, but it's been fun. I mean, but honestly, again, it is nice where you have a chance to kind of represent the group in the larger context of things. I do have a lot of materials that I have in a one Dropbox folder. It's very easy to share with somebody. We have our Google Doc, which has got a lot of the contact information. So yeah, you definitely, one of the things is as you move forward, really Jennifer and everybody relied on us to find new members. And so it's never really, in the very beginning when they put the call out, all of us, I think, put in our resume and our contact, and they kind of picked a group of people, and that's how the original committee started. But since that time, it's always been, either a referral or somebody has kind of mentioned that they would be interested in it. I do have one other gentleman who was interested when Bruce and Scott came on, and I'll see if I can find his email and reach out to him again. But he's also in Fairfield as well.
Okay.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But yeah, I guess I also put in there the transition. Like I said, even if a chair is not elected, I'll probably pick someone and it may be you, Bruce, as the secretary, just to have the copy of all my files that I have. And like I said, I'm going to try to finish organizing them. I organized them about a year or so ago. So I try to put things into folders. Like we had some of those maps and logo files and things that we have done. And so I try to put it all into one folder and everything was labeled more or less correctly. So at least we'll have somebody will have ownership of that. And as a secretary, Bruce, I'll probably ask you to do that.
Okay.
And like I said, there's not much.
Worst comes to worse, and we don't have somebody for the September meeting. As vice chair, I've run meetings on numerous occasions. I could run one meeting, keep it going, but I'm planning on leaving shortly after that. So I'm not who you want to choose for president.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you can run it. And like I said, Bruce and I have been trying to, even in the last meeting, he was trying to make sure we got the WebExes started. It looks like he's gotten that, and have to try to we have to keep practicing and get it right.
We'll do it a little bit smoother next time.
Yeah. So yeah, if nothing else, Laura, you can run the meeting as vice as well. Until go ahead, Sarah.
I guess I could put my hat in the ring for chair. I don't know. I had been on the committee less than a year, so I don't know if I feel right. I haven't gone to that training yet. I don't know if it was offered and I missed it. I'm a little concerned with my own workload outside of that, but I mean, I'd be willing to give it a try, considering it wouldn't start till September. If I could have some hand holding from some veteran committee members to help me transition into that.
And well, I will say, like, I'm also, I'm not going anywhere. And so, and I'm hoping I'll still be alive in September as well. So I'm always here as a resource, to kind of help
Yeah.
out and stuff at transition. But definitely, I mean, like if you think that you would be willing to put your hat into the ring, I'm sure, like I said, the vote does have to happen. It's not a tremendous amount of work. It's just, it's just making sure that kind of setting the agenda for moving forward. Honestly, I do think you've come up with some good ideas and some of the, the events that we're hopefully going to be planning. And I do think once COVID, again, hopefully COVID will start kind of dissipating and when things can get back a little bit more to normal for other events, that there'll be some opportunities to do more things, and start getting into the bike routes. And it's a lot easier when we're meeting in person. It really is. I mean, I have to say,
Yeah.
just those I actually really look forward to going to those Thursday meetings where we were sitting in the town hall and got a chance to chat with people and meet with people. So
Yeah. All
so
right.
officially, Sarah's put her name in the ring.
And I don't mind having a competition. We can have a campaign and
Yeah.
have to give speeches.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on. I did put the link to the New York Times article and about Fairfield. That was the thing that was mentioned, and I was quite happy that they put the complete streets policy front and center as one of the things that the town has to offer. So, Laura, you're the final remaining member that was part of the Complete Streets initiative. So, thank you very much, and a round of applause to Laura for
Thank you.
that through, and we got it approved. And I mean, I think that's a big win. It really is. I mean, there's not been much that's I wouldn't say that's done with it, but it's the fact that we have it, the fact that Bill continues to reference it when he's going for grant applications, the fact that the New York Times references this as a selling point of the town of Fairfield, I think does set the kind of the agenda for projects moving towards the future, and I think that's something that really is not going to be taken away from the town. So
Yeah, it's one thing
I
you
also-
can't take away. I was also pleased to hear to read that the first select woman described what it meant. And I don't know if she knew that or if somebody wrote it for her, just like people write things for you, Keith. But still, she had to read it, so she had to become knowledgeable. And that's a good thing because she wasn't in there when we got this approved. She wasn't on the board of selectmen. She wasn't involved. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, I was gonna second that, Laura. I screen captured that segment of the article because I think that's great, and I think that her support of the Complete Streets policy also, it gives us a lot of momentum to go forward with more implementation in the future. While she's first select woman, I mean, she's put it into very positive words, her support for the Complete Streets policy, and a policy, is best when it's put into action. So I look forward to more opportunities to put into action.
Yeah, and that's been one of my frustrations is we've really had very little success putting it into action. I just don't find planning and zoning reaching out to us when they're going to redo anything to try to incorporate things that we want. We could be more forceful and go knock on their doors, but it's not really working that well. That's my opinion.
I would maybe counter that with, and I think Bill or Santina would definitely be able to provide some evidence for it. But I'm sure you remember that guy Bruce Donald who came and presented. He's the chair of the Connecticut, the what is it, the East Coast Greenway. And he actually just emailed me yesterday because there is some money that they have that's coming out that's available for the Merritt Parkway study or trail, and trying to do that. And I brought it up to some of the people at the university I work at, and they're very interested in it. But he even said in multiple times he hosted an event for our students in the environmental club, and he said when you have things like these Complete Streets policies and money becomes available, like a lot is becoming available through some of this infrastructure bill that's hopefully going to pass and go through, having these policies really does help the town get some of that money. So some of
agree
these
with that.
larger
I agree
projects
with
can be
that.
implemented.
I'm just frustrated at the things we haven't done. And I think what Sarah did in your part of town was the main really complete streets like thing that we've pushed for. There's things we've pushed for, we got nowhere. We got Kings Highway, that I was so discouraged by it. It's good for pedestrians. They put a lot of sidewalks in, but it's worse for bicycles. So, you know, it's been frustrating. I can't really point to anything that we've actually had happen in town yet. There's a number of things in the pipeline, like the Black Rock Turnpike and the rotary down on Post Road, the Post Road Circle. They are going to redo Southport, Grassmere. That may be an improvement, but you know what I'm saying. It's hard to put my finger on something that's actually happened.
Right, I hear what you're saying. I think the biggest issue we're facing is that most of the infrastructure that's happening in our town right now is state infrastructure. So the Post Road, route, Black Rock Turnpike, all those things. And we fundamentally, even the town of Fairfield has no control over that. Certainly we as the pedestrian committee, so a small part of the town of Fairfield have even less, sort of active voice or visibility on that in those projects. Now, having Bill on our side, I think definitely adds a voice because he understands what's important to us and he is on board with our program. So I think he definitely talks to those programs with the idea of complete streets in mind. He's bought into the idea of it.
I think, Nate, I'm disappointed to hear that because the state has its own complete streets policy.
That's right.
And so I think maybe they need some reminders that they need to be implementing that in their projects as well, because they do have, and it's been a while since I read it, but they do have a complete streets policy. It's not as robust as Fairfield,
Right.
but it's there. And it's their responsibility, in my opinion, to be proactive in using it. And if they're not, I think they need to be called out on that.
Call me a cynic, but I just think that the boilerplate in all these policies is that if within a reasonable cost expense, and we all know that these things are prohibitively expensive in their mindset, so they're going to say, well, we looked at that, but it's too expensive, so we can't do it. So we're just going to go ahead and make more lanes for traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to be shown the data that contradicts that. And there's so many opportunities to create pedestrian and cyclist infrastructure that makes improvements for not a lot of money. And if they're not aware of that, then that's on them to be keeping up with this information. I mean, who am I? I know enough to be dangerous and that's about it. But they should be keeping up on these things because there's so many examples out there of communities doing these things for less money than they're saying it costs.
No, and I agree. I mean, I think it's definitely something hopefully the committee can keep up with is try to push and push and push. Because sometimes we don't find out about projects until they're already kind of a fait accompli. You know what I mean? Like they're already done or they're already been planned. But I do think that some of these newer projects that are coming up, people have been taking into consideration these things. Hopefully.
Well, that's not entirely true, and we do find out about them. And I have been to several public hearings on various things. And Bill, for example, Bill Lane and I were both at the public hearing on the one I just mentioned on Route 1, Kings Highway. And we both pushed to make it more bicycle friendly. And the engineers that were working for the state balked at doing it because they wanted to make sure it was pedestrian friendly, and they didn't have the money to move all the poles, telephone poles and lines back further so that they could widen the street. So it wasn't going to happen because it was going to be a huge expense to do that. And we pushed and pushed. You could make the road narrower. No, they got to keep traffic flowing.
Sorry.
And that comes up over and over again. Got to keep that traffic moving. But I've been to numerous hearings. I've done road safety audits. Most of the rest of the committee has not gone there. And if we all show up and scream and holler, it would be more effective than just me and Bill Lane. So, you know, these things were known. Bill Hurley tells us when these things are going to happen. So that's just a recommendation going forward.
Thanks, Laura. As we move through the thing, we don't have any of the town of Fairfield people here, so I'm going to skip over on that. Anything on the financial side to report?
Nothing new to report.
Okay. Nothing new with the Board of Selectmen. Linda, did you have anything with the Fairfield Sustainable Task Force?
No, I didn't get to attend the last meeting, but Mary did reach out to me to just ask if someone would be interested in taking over that liaison role. You know, they are working very hard on the sustainability recertification, and it's a really good group. They're doing a lot of great work, and it's a very worthwhile initiative. So if somebody does have an interest or a passion for it, it's a great thing to be connected to our committee. So I'll put that out there. I'm happy to talk to anybody if anybody's interested in that.
All right.
Linda, I may do that. I have to talk to Mary. Just because I do a lot now, you know, in another project with sustainability. So, which Mary knows about.
Yeah.
And it just might be relevant as too. It's just hard. Sometimes the meeting times are difficult for me, which I'm sure you found too, but I'll talk to her about it.
Sounds great. Yeah, it is really a great group, Karen. So that would be wonderful if you can squeeze that in.
Yeah.
When do they meet?
They meet the second Wednesday of the month. So this particular month, it just happened to be yesterday. But normally there's a little bit of a gap, you know, it'll work out. So it'll be that committee 1 week and then the next week. But you know, months like that fall like this, it's a little tricky because you've got back-to-back meetings.
Yeah. All right, great. Was there anything on the forestry committee, Karen, that you wanted to report on, or?
Actually, the meeting is next Tuesday, and the last one was before it. I don't know why it changed that way, but that might be something. If there's someone who is interested in serving as liaison on the forestry committee, and I went and did sustainable, that might work. The tricky thing is they do their meetings at 9 a.m. So on a Tuesday, and it's just you know, that gets a little hard for me because I can basically only sit in on it for about a half an hour, and then I have to go. But
All right. Nate, anything on the bike ped master plan? I know you and Scott were working on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the homework assignment, if you were, was to sort of go through the existing master plan and do a sort of benchmarking based on what we've accomplished. So we're just been working on that and haven't gotten any further than that.
Okay. All right, moving right along. Sarah, you wanted to mention something about the planning for the World Remembrance Day, and I think I sent you that email today from somebody from doing something with film as well. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So Karen and I met just a couple of hours ago, and we met at the gazebo in Sherman Green.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think did the recreation board meeting happen before our last meeting? I think I reported out that we did get approved to use the park for the event, which is going to be Sunday, November 21st. Probably a start time of around 1 p.m. I'm still working that out a little bit, but yeah, so we're moving ahead with that. I got the official letter. Actually, I have it right here. I got the letter from the recreation department. Where is it? And they also said something about insurance. I assume since this is a town-sponsored event, that's just like it gets sent standard with the approval, because we would just fall under the town's insurance, I would imagine. Or does this commission have its own insurance?
no.
No, I'm sure
All right.
That's something to check on.
there's something to check on. Maybe we can ask Jennifer about that from
Yeah.
Selectman's office.
All right.
She,
I
she
will
would know
follow
who
up
to ask,
about that. But yeah. Other than that, so Karen and I kind of went over logistics of the event, inviting, we want to make sure we invite loved ones of people who've been victims of traffic violence, whether they were unfortunately killed or injured. And we're going to put together a list. I've already reached out to Mike Parrish to try to get a list of people we can contact to invite. Whether they come or not is up to them. But we also want to get the list to do the art demonstration with the shoes. I think I talked about that last time, right? Where we'd have a pair of shoes representing each victim of traffic violence and spray painted it white. They do that in many of these types of events. And going to ask Mike and Bob Calamaris at FPD to send a representative to speak for a few minutes about the impact on first responders when they go to these crashes again and again. Possibly someone from the fire department as well, because they're often the first on the scene. And also inviting some faith leaders to lead us in a brief prayer, moment of silence in recognition of the losses and the trauma. And then we're going to end the event with a voluntary memorial walk to the highway ramp on Mill Plain Road where Christine McMahon was killed last November trying to cross. And I have to find out from Mike Parrish if it was the on-ramp or the exit ramp, because I'm not sure which one she was hit at. So, and hopefully, do some flowers. And then it'll be, and we have to coordinate with the police. We have to coordinate with the police about safety, getting there safely. So, which Mike was very open. When I spoke to him before he went on vacation, he was very open to that. So, was there something in the chat that I missed?
No, I'm sorry. I just, if I can interrupt for 1 second, Calder McKay just joined. He is the gentleman I told you I spoke to earlier who may be interested in joining our committee. And I asked him to, to listen in and join us. Calder, can you hear me?
I can, yeah. Hello.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know if you wanted to just introduce yourself. It's a very small committee right now, but you could probably say a little bit more about yourself. It was his neighbor is on the forestry committee with us.
Yeah, sorry, my webcam isn't set up right now, so I can't turn that on.
That's all right.
I'm going to say hello and introduce myself. My name is Calder McKay. I graduated from Massachusetts College of Art and Design as the BFA in Industrial Design. I focus particularly on micromobility, which is quite anything small vehicle-wise, like a skateboard or bike or electric scooter. Focus on how those could fit around a town or a city better. So when I heard about this from Peter, I was very excited to join. Just want to learn more about your committee.
It's like it's a little bit hard to hear you, so I'm not sure if you can move the microphone closer or what. But my name is Keith Gallinelli. I'm the chair of the committee. I'm actually going to be stepping down next month, and we have another member who's going to be stepping down as well. So definitely looking for some more people to join the committee to kind of take on the work that we've been doing for the last, I guess, 8 years now. And we've done things over the past of putting some of the bike routes in place and signage, and we've done events in partnership with the police and the History Museum and a bunch of other things. And actually, Linda, one of the things I was going to ask you to do for the other items, but maybe we can kind of skip to it right now, is I know you're stepping down as well. For some of the new members, because there are new members here as well, would you mind giving an overview of some of the events that we've done, especially the History Museum rides and things like that, or things that you've organized in the past, just to kind of give people, again, we haven't been able to do anything for 1.5 years. So that knowledge is very valuable for what was done in the former days. So I'll turn it over to you if you just want to describe some of the events that we've done.
Sure. Thanks, Keith. And I will actually make it a point to pull out some of the press releases and the detailed information, the tour maps and things like that. We have a great supporter in the Fairfield Museum and History Center. They've enjoyed working with us on planning those bike trips. And what we've done is work with one of their coordinators, Walt Mattis, who I happened to see last Sunday, and who, now that the Fairfield Museum and History Center is back up and running, they probably would be willing to do these kind of events in the future. And they've been a lot of fun. They've usually revolved around different themes, such as the Calder Spy Ring. And we had one that was, believe it or not, based on burial grounds in Fairfield. And we went to different burial grounds, different themes and different historical sites. And we would map out the route, ride to a given site. Walt would give a little bit of a presentation about the history, show everybody around. Then we'd go to the next site, meet up, and, they'd be, the starting and end points would usually be the Museum and History Center. So those were a lot of fun. We got some pretty good turnouts for all of them. So something that we really enjoyed working with the Museum and History Center on. And I'll pull out the specifics so we have the information and the themes and some of the ideas of them. So if we do want to recreate some of them, we always could.
And what was the idea that you had? You were started working on it with Ed with the passport type of hit. Like that was the next ride that we were going to do when COVID hit us. So what was
Yes.
the theme of that? Because I think one of the things that we realized is we had to limit the number of people, mostly because too large of a group just wouldn't be manageable. So we were trying to find ways where we could extend it to a larger numbers of people and even children as well. So maybe if you wanted to talk about that a bit.
Yeah, good point, Keith. So we did have to limit it. At the beginning, we got such a strong interest that we kept it to about, I think, 25, 30 max people, because we do want to keep the group together and we want to make sure that we're able to move safely as a group, that we don't have, too many people tying up the roads or having to worry about safety crossing the streets or things like that. So we did limit it, and I think had an age limit that you had to be, I can't remember whether it was 12 or 14 or over. So that was a little bit lower for families. And so Ed and Walt came up with this idea of kind of a passport program where we could have different stations and people could arrange to get a little passport and arrange to go to different stations on their own and move at their own pace, but that there would be people manning the stations and doing a little presentation when groups arrived there, and then you get your passport stamp and you move on to the next station. So that would allow larger groups, it would allow families to be able to travel together. It created a little bit more flexibility, but it also requires a little bit more work because we would have to have stations manned for longer periods of time and more volunteers involved. So it's something that we had started to plan, and then unfortunately, of course, the pandemic hit. The other thing, we did have a walking tour as well. So we shouldn't forget that we actually did that one in Southport, which was a lot of fun as well. And we had a very good turnout for that. And I think that was successful. That focused on the Southport area. Again, Walt walked us around, talked about the history of Southport, pointed out some great historical sites. And that was a lot of fun as well.
Actually, another walking tour that we did was with the Sustainability Committee. And we got to see a bunch of the solar installations around the downtown Fairfield area, including the dump site, some of the things that were at the golf course and the police station, fire station. So Scott Thompson had run that, but that was a good walking tour as well.
And actually, our very first event was to launch the bike route, the library to bike route. When we got that going.
The beach route. It's actually the beach route.
I thought we did the library to library first. No?
Oh,
And
I thought it was the beach. I think it was the beach route.
See, this is what happens when you're on a committee for so long. There's so
I know.
But with the first time we did have one of the bike routes, we did actually organize an event around it, which was kind of fun. We had a group go on the trip together and do it. And that's something, again, if the committee does additional bike routes, it's a great way to draw a little bit of attention and form an event around it. So that's something that we can do further.
Excellent. And maybe one other thing, Nate, I know we just mentioned briefly the bike ped master plan, but for the benefit of, again, everybody, and for some people that may not have read it, when you and Scott are looking at that, what are some of the kind of the goals or things that you'd like to pull out of that and think about moving forward with, for the future, whether it's additional routes or anything that might be in that bike ped master plan that was done even before this group started?
Well, in my sort of humble opinion, it's a good document. It looks like it was prepared by maybe a an outside partner, because there's a lot of stuff in here that just seems sort of pie in the sky. So yeah, I mean, I think to boil it down, we want to continue to make the town a great place for all road users. And we want to be a little bit more concrete in our things than just those sort of, we want to make it safe for everybody. So yeah, additional routes. I would love to find and encourage some actual bike lanes, not bike routes, which is the next step, if you will. And then, we can maybe get crazy and maybe even do a protected bike lane. And once you get, half a mile of protected bike lane, then it's like, oh, that didn't really affect me that much. Because what I hear from people all the time is that they would be more willing to ride to the grocery store, ride to the train station, ride to the soccer match, if they felt safe doing so. And it's incumbent on us to encourage the town to do a better job of doing that. And I think enforcement by the police department also, speeding and unsafe driving needs to be addressed as well. So going back to your question though, I think this thing is like 30 pages long. Honestly, I think we could get it. We need it to be like 5 pages long. It needs to be much more concise, and it needs to be a working document instead of some sort of gospel or something.
For the protected bike lanes, my suggestion is not to just be general, but to actually start talking about where they might be, which roads might be candidates, because there are some real criteria that are going to have to be met. It's nice to just say, let's do it, but if you don't specify areas of town or certain certain roads, you're really not saying anything.
Right. No, that's fair. So we need to work on that.
Go ahead, Sarah.
If I could throw a suggestion out there, I think one of the places we could look first would be the Old Post Road. There's large swaths of that road where there's no parking allowed. So parking isn't even a factor in that. And I think, back when I started on this committee, we felt like the time to do some stuff on Old Post Road was good because of what happened with Donna last year, getting hit in a pedestrian crosswalk by a vehicle, and the subsequent outrage by the neighborhood and looking for something to be done, and nothing's been done yet. And that was actually when I was trying to pursue the placemaking grants with the board of realtors who never got back to me. That's what I was going to propose trying to fund, is a demonstration protected bike lane, at least for the summer, to give it a try and give folks a taste on the Old Post Road. It's plenty wide enough. And if, according to Bill Pollock, who you all know, who's a friend of mine, if say there was like a construction vehicle or something that needed to park on the road, you can set it up so that they can apply for variance to block the lane temporarily. It's not like, there aren't ways around it. So that's one that I can think of. It's got high visibility. I would also say Fair Road is pretty wide and almost no, like you almost never see anyone parking there. And I think that is such a key connection between the Stratfield neighborhood and Black Rock Turnpike. I'll get on it because I'm crazy like that and I don't care, and I'm not going to let the cars intimidate me. But I have so many neighbors who won't, and I don't blame them. But I think if they felt protected on that road, they would do it. And not only is it a benefit, it's an amenity, but it helps reduce congestion, because if people can do the short trips, to CVS or wherever, they're like the 2 to 4 mile trips on a bike instead of having to get in a car, it reduces the number of cars on the road, which also, helps lower carbon emissions.
And it also it calms traffic as well. By making the road narrower, it definitely calms traffic.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the only thing I would say about Old Post Road, and again, because of what happened last year, it may be different, but the Beach Association was definitely not thrilled when we first put that route in. And there was pushback from them on there. But again, they may have a very different feeling about it now. And the crosswalk, as Anne used to say all the time, those crosswalks, on Old Post Road people do not heed them at all. So we may get a different support now. And sadly, as Sarah and I spoke about this, it takes an accident often to make people really support the ideas. But we, it may be something that we should really seriously look at trying to get some just hear what they have to say about it right now.
And I think that's why you push it as a demonstration project. Like, let's try it for a season, May to October, so you don't have to worry about plows or anything. Let's just try it. And if there's absolute public outrage, then it goes away. But if there's actually a positive response, which I feel in my heart there would be, then you push to make it permanent. And either way, it's a win, because it gets when you have a physical demonstration of what's possible, it just opens people's eyes.
Well, one thing you might want to think about, and this might be something that's very doable even this summer. During the 4th of July, I biked down around the beach, and they had put up those orange cones along, I don't know what the name of the road is, the one that goes to Jennings Beach, to protect walkers that would be
Benson?
walking, walking, South Benson, I think, so they'll be walking towards the beach. And maybe it's the thing that you could do on a weekend, a Saturday, Sunday. Those cones are put up along one side, maybe the south side of the Old Post Road, all the way down, and a lot more dense as well, and all the way down to the beach. So the road that would go by the Fairfield History Museum, and put those big signs out there for the police that says, temporary bike walking, protected lane. Make it nice and dense, and see if people use it, and, as a trial. And that could be one of those things where people are like, hey, this is pretty cool. Because it's not 100% protected, but by having all of those, they have tons of them. Because I saw them all out there. You just line them right up along the road. So it might be something that's possible to do.
I think that's a great idea, but I would recommend putting it on for bikes on both sides of the street, because what I've read is that when you have a lane, like you have like a car lane going one way, a car lane going another way, and then you have a little lane with like bikes going each way, it just creates confusion for drivers and cyclists. Like the cyclists need to be going with the flow of traffic in each direction. So other than that, I think, I'd be willing to give that a try.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to think about, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of ideas. So Calder, as we're just talking here, this was kind of some of the things that hopefully the committee will move forward. And I will say it one more time, that the Merritt Parkway is still on the table. And it's honestly, it's really, there are some rumblings about it might be possible with a combination of a public-private partnership. There's a couple of new developments that are going in along that area. You never know. As a first mile or two, it definitely is a project I'd love to see at some point in the next few years. So, because I'll be very honest, I actually had never ridden the Farmington Trail until it was 2 weekends ago, and I rode from Hamden all the way up towards Hartford, and it was like, wow, this is fantastic. What a wonderful trail that was. Like I was so pleasantly surprised. It was even the crossings where you had to go across the road were on very quiet roads, and that would be wonderful to have something like that. And actually, when Bruce Donald did present, he said there's a lot of north-south trails in Connecticut. There's almost no east-west. For bike lanes or protected rails and trails or things like that. So just something to think about. Anyways, I do want to continue with I want to get through the rest of the agenda. We only have really one more thing to talk about.
Actually, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I didn't get to finish telling you about the World Day of Remembrance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Just quickly. So the Sean O'Sullivan email, Sean sent Keith an email saying that Mary mentioned during their Sustainable Task Force meeting that we're doing this World Day of Remembrance, and apparently there's a film that is all about this, and she suggested perhaps we could show the film. She said there was incredible film about this subject in this year's Bicycle Film Festival, and maybe we could think of showing it at the FTC or the New Sacred Heart Community Theater. And I love that idea. I think that would be a great way to end the event after the walk, is to have some food and drinks in the lobby of one of those institutions, and then those who want to can go and watch the movie. So I did respond to her. I don't know anybody at FTC or connected to the community theater, so asked her if she could help make that happen. But that's a possible sort of finale to the event, and that's all I wanted to share.
It's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Sounds like it'll be quite a good event. That's great.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. The safety tips messaging, Bruce. Were you able to
It's been
add them
posted.
to our? They are posted. Great.
It is a link underneath the additional links,
Okay.
2021 safety tips, and I put star new just as
Okay.
maybe hopefully it catch people's eye.
Okay.
So it's there, and it links to the section of the document, pages 2 and pages 3, with the beginning paragraph. So please look at it and make sure it's exactly what you wanted to be in the document. It doesn't capture the, the kind of shortened bullets at the top of the page that's going to go into the newsletter.
Okay.
So take a look
Yeah, so
at it. And
I think, yeah, well, I will take a look at that. But one of the things what we could do is once it's there, even if you have a link, I'm not sure if it would take you directly to that, but if we were to, send the bullets along, for more information, click here and have that link, just put right in there. We just send that to Jennifer, and then she can do what she needs to do to get it into to the newsletter. Yes, go ahead.
I can send the link to Jennifer.
Could we get the police and the public health departments to share it on their social media, on their Facebook?
Well, last month, Santina said she'd be happy.
Great.
Yeah,
Yes,
and-
we actually, Santina and I worked on, she did a couple of posts and she boosted them as well, about like bike safety, pedestrian safety. We had a couple of different images that we found that we liked and the message it sent. So I'm sure she would.
Oh,
And,
great.
Yeah, and Scott actually did reach out to the police department and got some comments back. So I'm sure we can just respond once, we're all said and done with them. Just ask them if they can promote them on the police website as well, or the Facebook page or whatever as well.
And that's what I had originally written to Mike Parrish about that and said, can we get some information on the, your Instagram posts or whatever. So I think they're very willing to it, but we just may have to keep asking.
Okay. And then I did see, when I got my car tax bill, that there was this guide to recycling. I don't know if
Yes.
everybody else got that. So I think we probably need to start the conversation now with, I don't know if it would be Brenda's office or who, to see if we could get a flyer like this for the next tax mailing.
I happen to know a little bit about that because my other half is on the town, what's the name, exactly the name of Solid Waste and Recycling Commission.
Oh,
And
great.
pushed to have that put into the tax bill, and Brenda wouldn't fund it. And it turns out the head of the town sewer department funded it out of his own budget. And that's the only reason it got in there. Just so you know.
Didn't they
Santina
partner with
say that-
Sustainable Connecticut?
Sustainable Connecticut doesn't have the funds either.
No, but I
Sustainable
thought they partnered with them.
Yeah, they helped get it done.
Yeah.
But it came from the state actually. But the funding to print that and put it in the tax bill, Brenda refused to pay for it. But it was funded out of the sewer department's
Didn't
budget.
Santina say that the Department of Health would could use their funds? She was looking into that.
Well, we don't have anything right now
Printing?
to use it for, but that would be an avenue we
Yeah.
might be able to go. Like they funded all of the complete streets flyers we printed, and I've got a bunch of them in my basement. But it adds mailing cost as well. So it's not just a printing of a flyer, it's also upping the mailing bill, possibly. I don't know. Depends. I don't know if it did or didn't.
It shouldn't. That's not a lot. That's one. I mean, it was a one-page
No, I know,
bill.
it's not a big one.
That shouldn't add to the cost.
In our condo, we printed that up in a big banner, and we posted them in all of the the garbage bags as well. And we mailed them to every condo owner. So anyway, we've been active getting that word out. And it's important because the way we recycle garbage now is costing us money because China isn't taking things like they used to. So it's only going to get worse because they're going to shut down a big plant in the Hartford area, and we're maybe out of state, cost us even more. So anyway, I don't want to go any further on that subject. It's kind of a dirty subject, you know what I mean? Speaking of websites, since we were on a website topic, our website has a photo of the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, which hardly has any current members in it.
Yeah.
It's been
It's
a-
either got to
think
come
that's a
down.
photo
you're
opportunity.
going to need a new photo in there.
Yeah.
I think so, or no photo at all. I don't think the other committees have photos.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, are you able to take that down? Like, have you figured out that aspect of it yet,
Okay.
or no?
I will try. Let me see if I can. So, photo on website, take down. All right.
Yeah, it's something like out of Back to the Future. Like people are slowly fading out of the photo.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully the next time there's an event, there will be an opportunity for a new photo, which would be great. Even though the
Yes.
other committees don't have it, it's kind of nice to have a photo if it's possible at some future point. So
Speaking of Back to the Future, though, the new community theater has been showing some of these classic movies, and I haven't had a chance to go there yet, but my friend was just there and he saw Back to the Future and E.T., which oddly enough, I saw there when they originally came out when I was like 7 years old or whatever it is. But I don't think they're charging money until it actually officially opens in September. So check that out. The other thing I was going to let people know is that Two Roads is doing their Bike to Beers ride on July 31st. There's a 15, 30, and 45-mile ride. I'm going to be doing the 30-mile one. And Bike New York is back, and it's coming in August this year, not May. And I signed up for that as well. So that's a lot of fun. It used to be 32,000 people. Hopefully it's going to have, that many as well. I've done that about 5-6 times. It's a lot of fun. So things are starting to come back to life.
yeah. Mm.
All right. Anything else from anybody?
I have one more thing. While
Sure.
we may not be able to get together in person for a meeting, we could have a social event, especially with so many people leaving. I knew you'd give that a thumbs up, Keith.
This may look like an innocent cup, but it's actually a sip of sunshine.
Because we've had social events, and I think with two people leaving, and eventually me and these new people coming on, a social event at some place with a little libation would be in order.
I vote for this.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
What is everybody's schedule like? What do you think would be better to do it like late July, early August, or people on vacation around? I'm more or less here.
I'm mostly here until late August. Then I'm gone for 2 weeks.
I'm away the last week of
July, early
July.
August.
Maybe like first week of August.
Early August.
Early August doesn't work for me, but that's okay. I'd be better around the time of our next meeting because I'll be back by then. But I don't know if that.
When are you back? You're one of the people that's leaving, Linda, so you have to be there.
Yes.
When is our next meeting? Would be August 19th.
Our next meeting would be. You are correct, August 19th.
Yeah, I am around that week if that works for other people, but I know that's often a prime vacation week. So.
I'm still here then.
Yeah, I can't do Mondays or Tuesdays because I have class those nights. So maybe a Wednesday. Maybe we could do Wednesday the night before the meeting even.
That might
work
I
for
can do
people?
that.
The
that would
18th?
work.
That works.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Friday because that's Jazz Fridays at the museum, which I
Yeah,
like.
that's bike committee get together. I'm just trying to think. Is it what's got an outdoor seating area that's in Fairfield? I know the burger place does.
There's lots of places. Depends on how big you want it to be.
Do you want to try to shoot for 6 o'clock that day, and we'll pick a place?
Yep.
That works. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll send out an invite. We'll pick a place. It'll be someplace downtown Fairfield if that works for everybody.
Okay.
Or we could even go to we could go to Vozzy's up on the golf course too if it's a nice day, and just sit out like the 19th hole one on Stratfield. But
No, you go to Boca, the new
What's Boca?
clubhouse. Boca is at Smith Richardson.
I don't know where that is. I've never
Smith
been.
I don't know where.
You don't know where Smith Richardson is?
Oh, I don't know where Boca is. Where's
Well,
Smith
that-
Richardson?
It's the clubhouse.
The new clubhouse.
Yeah, haven't been there, but I've heard great things about it. It's supposed to be really nice. Karen, you've obviously been there and it's,
Well, I know of a nice little pollinator garden that was just planted in the
All right. So, all in favor of Karen making us a reservation? You're on it, Karen.
I get myself into trouble every time.
All right, so we're gonna try to do Boca at Smith Richardson on Wednesday, the 20 something.
Was it the 18th?
18th.
That's right, 18th.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool.
That sounds like fun.
I like this idea.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well,
Right.
I think that we might as well end the meeting on something positive, happy, and fun. And so I think that would be would
Okay.
be actually. I'm actually not. I'm not kidding about that. I think everybody should just go around really quickly, and we're gonna stop recording, Bruce. We can close the meeting, but before you get off, you do have to say something
Okay.
positive that's happened or is gonna happen or something like that in your life. So let's all in favor of